You have reached your destination.
Yep. Okay, so I've been working successfully on doing the uprights. So I've got them even this way and this way using this little bugger. So I am happy that everything's lining up. Got this one done. And what I'm going to do now is do a little bit of shaping to the butt end of that thing. Because as you can see, this is down just a bit. So I have to account for that. That's not tough. I'm just going to cut off maybe like a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch from that point and down. So I'm just going to shape it. I can probably grind it off, quite honestly. Yeah, it's easier than cutting, I'll tell you that. And then I'll weld it all in. And call it a night for that and do the next one tomorrow. And I am done for the night. I have deliberately not put a weld in there, but I did on the other side. And I've ground down the welds. This one's real nice. Oh, pretty up in there too. And up in there, it's not too bad. I'm gonna leave those as they are. I'm gonna covered by floorboards. And same up in here. On the other side over in here, I've not welded yet. So once, oh, all right, come on out, come on. Once I take this off, once I've got the other side done, and I take off the front air dam, I'll do these sides, right? And I've deliberately overhung this so that when I do put the floor in, it's got a little bit of what do you call it, overhang there, and I will at one point go from here to there. Come on, come here. Well, he usually gets yelled at. Anyway, so I'm done for the night. I am being yelled at by that one, and I'm just about out of weld gas. This one here. I think I have a leak somewhere or something, I don't know, but and I have it, damn, way too high. I should have it about 30, I think. Anyway, so I'll get more weld gas tomorrow. I've got a bunch of welding wire spares and stuff. And I'll get off to the next side. I think all in all, starting at 5, it's now about 8:30, 3.5 hours to do this carefully. There he is. All right, well, there we go. Just a quick one here. I've got the same gap in the back here as I did on the other side, which, duh, of course. I have strung up the next one, as you can see, and put it to the approximate places where I think the uprights are going to be, and duh. And got a nice cut there. Good 90-degree angles on all sides. I have a little bit of, what do you call it, adjustment to do before I close up that gap, and that's not much. That's what, 1/8 of an inch. So I'll take this, put it over this way, and then see where I am on this. I'm not gonna weld this. This is the last thing I weld, of course, but yeah, looks pretty good so far. And here we go. So that's done. Looks good too. Looks really good. Had some really nice welds too. I've found that the thicker the metal, the better welder I am. So yeah, this is nice. Of course, this is ground down, but yep, good to go. So I'm gonna take a break and kind of war game what I'm gonna do next. Likely, I'm gonna close in these things, the wheel wells. That won't be tough. That's just a sheet of metal curved around to meet this, and then weld it in. Actually, pretty easy. Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, here's the whole thing. Not bad. Not bad at all. And here we go. So I've cut a 3 foot by about 10, 17 actually, let me think here. 17 inch piece of metal here, and I wrapped around the end. On the back, one can see that I've shaped it so it's more or less about an inch lower than this line here, right? One can see that I'm going to back up. One can see that I can probably squish these in using my clamps here, but I'm more likely to make a few relief cuts so that they go in on their own much more easily. I don't want to stress the metal, and I don't want to cause a stress point for a weld to pop later. Not that I'm bad at my welds anymore. I'm really good at them, actually, I think, but you know, I just don't want to do that. I want to have a good piece of creation here, except for this. I dorked that up pretty good. I'm gonna have to put a piece in there, and I'll just zip it like I did down here, and then fill it in. So at the back, I may have to do a little bit the same thing, whereas you know, a relief cut here, or I just take a hammer and you know, knock them all down so that they're even with the piece below it. All right. I've also done the same thing. I've also drilled holes on here. This is what I've often called the poor man's butt weld, not butt weld. Poor man's spot weld. There we go. I don't have a spot welder, so I drill holes and then fill them in with my welder, and that's just as good. Just as good. And then when I go to actually start painting and everything else here, I'm going to fill this seam here with seam weld and call it a day. Likely tomorrow, I'm going to put another cross brace piece here, all the way through to the other side. And that will be the strengthening piece here, right? Yeah, and I'm not going to use 2-inch box because this stuff is already heavy as it is. I am instead going to use 2-inch L-beam, and I got a whole bunch of that there. My center piece that will go through all the way through. I guess I knocked off a what do you call it? A vice grips. The center piece that will then attach to a ball hitch and then to the vehicle will run indeed from here all the way through. And the pieces that I've got are very long. 8 feet long I think it is. So I've got more than enough structural stability to pull the entire thing as a unit, regardless of what gets put in here. So rather excited that all this is going on now. I've got a lot of stuff that I can now start doing. After dinner, I'll weld this stuff in, and I'll start making up on the other side. And yeah, I think by tomorrow or by tonight when I post this, I think I'll have maybe both sides. At least I'll have that side, you know, like it should be, closed up and looking natural. Okay, this one's done, and the seam there I will fill in with tiger hair, and I'm now going to do this one. I'll be doing the same thing. Gonna encase this, zorge it around, and you know, weld it in. All right, I think I'm done for the day. At least I'm done to a point where I need to kind of consider, think ahead. So I've done both sides of the actual, no kidding, where the tire goes, wheel will. Yeah. Welded everything here. My method being drilling a hole, clamping it down, and then filling it. I won't do that with those. I drilled too far over. That's not a big deal. Let's close those up. And then the rest of the other parts, just like I did on the other side. So, dusty day. Ground down the welds, and then my intent is to fill all the corners and the seams with seam sealer or Bondo hair, depends. I think I've got a couple of tubes of seam sealer. And then I'll, what do you call it? Prime it. Yeah, I think so. Because I can't see myself, I don't anticipate doing any more work in this area. Any welding, that is. Welding will just burn the paint right off, the primer. Yeah. And then again, I ought to leave priming for last because there's always going to be something, right? Always. Anyhow, I think what's next is I'll take off the front end and do the front cross piece. I think. Yep, I think. Well, I probably should keep it on just in case. Anyway, so that's it, I think, for today. I think what I'm going to do next, I think, is these side pieces, right? And then on each side, I think. Yeah, we'll see. I need to think this through. See what's going to be easiest and what's best and what's most logical and so forth. Yeah, so there we go. I'll post this.